for podcast. My goodness, once again, we are here, friends. It's time for Fridays with Vinnie. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday indeed. Hope you all doing well, and welcome to the weekend. This is episode 2 for Friday, April 16th, 2021. Welcome, friends. So a little update after last time. First of all, I'm recording on a Friday, actually. So we'll see how that goes. Last time, even though I recorded on Wednesday, I didn't end up getting around to it till late in the evening because there was so much going on. Well, obviously I was working that day, so I didn't get a chance before then to get the podcast taken care of and uploaded and everything. Plus I was thinking I would have time to work on the theme song for it. I did not. So that one went out without a theme song. This one will have a theme song. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Hopefully the recording goes okay this time. I'm using a different method. Basically, I'm using OBS, which those of you who stream will know that. Basically, I'm recording the video and audio together so I don't have to do it later. Yeah, it'll just be easier that way, I think. If it turns out to be a bad idea, then yeah, sorry about that. This episode may be not as good. Other news, not much has happened this week. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Not much has been going on. I have. Let me think. Did I even? It's so hard to keep track of what all gets done, because basically most of the stuff I do is on the weekend. And then by the time Friday rolls around, I'll have forgotten about that. Jan and I usually go to youth meeting thingy. It's like a Bible study, basically. It's essentially what it is. And I know what you're thinking, Vinnie Hearted, you don't believe in the Bible. Why do you go study? I go because I'm a good husband. Gosh dang it. I'm doing my best, guys. I'm doing my best to be a good person in spite of my lack of religious beliefs. But yeah, I know, like, they're always like, what'd you do this week? And I was like, I did nothing this week. I worked. I mean, I could think of last weekend. I know I did stuff, but I don't remember what it was. Let me think. Okay, so here's how my weekends go. Last Saturday, okay. So I get to bed late, of course, Friday night. Because, I'm like, oh, I gotta get all this stuff done. I can't wait till tomorrow because I won't have time. So then, of course, I get up at I think it was like 8:30 before I end up getting up, which for some people isn't bad, but for me it's like I got stuff to do. So of course by the time I get breakfast done and everything around, it's like 9:30 or 10, probably more like 10:30. And then let me think. We had to go do something. What did we do? What was it that I did? Shucks, I can't remember now. I was planning on talking about this on the podcast, but now I can't remember for the life of me what even happened Saturday. I mean, obviously that's how it goes, but like... Okay. I vaguely remember now. So essentially, Jana wanted to go to the resale shop because there was a at the resale store for the boys club here in where we are, Rapid City. They were doing a sale that day, so she was like, "Well, we gotta go to that," because it was like a clothing sale or something. Like all clothes were 50% off or something. So we went to that. But before that, I was like, well, we're going to town anyway. Let me return this wood from building my studio because I used car siding on the walls and ceiling. But I had a little extra. So I was like, well, let's get this returned to Lowe's. And so I proceeded to first, I called Dad. I was like, hey, I need the trailer so I can take this wood back. And he's like, oh, I got junk on it. But could you dunk junk? And I was like, oh yeah, well, I'll take this stuff that's on the trailer, this junk, to the junkyard. So we proceed to do that. We get everything together. It's like by the time we get around, it's 11:30. So we get the trailer. Everything's good and funky. We get to the what is it even called? We get to the dump, I guess. We get to the dump. And there is a line all the way out to the highway. It's just like completely full. I'm like, oh, great. So we end up waiting in line 45, 50 minutes. obviously I could have been like, maybe don't go today. Maybe don't you know, maybe don't go to to dump today. But like I wanted to get the stuff done and I was already here. So I was like, okay, we'll wait. So 45 minutes later, we get in, we get the stuff dumped, and then okay. So then I get the wood taken back to Lowe's. Okay, now we got to get lunch. So we go to Wendy's, we eat lunch, and then it's like, okay, well now we gotta I had to pick up the nail gun from Joe, so I took the trailer back, got the nail gun from Joe so I could finish building Jana's desk, because I was building her a standing desk, kind of like mine, only a lot smaller. And then basically, by the time I even got home after everything, it was 4:30. So there you go, the whole day gone, and all I really did was return some wood and go shopping at 3 different stores. I think we had to go to Walmart as well. Gotta love that Walmart. You spend 15 minutes walking to something, and then you gotta take another 15 walking back to it. They know how to design those stores. I was watching this I think it's a TikTok account. It's run by Hank Green. But they were talking about like, everyone goes to the grocery store for milk. So they design it to where the milk is in the very back of the store. That's where all the fridges are. So you got to walk by everything else. And you're like, oh, I need this. Oh, I want that. Oh, I need this. So then by the time you get to the checkout, you got a bunch of other stuff. Always make a list, guys. Always make a list when going grocery shopping. But yeah, that was last weekend. I did get a chance to work on music stuff. I've been working on what was it? The instrumental track for the album. I have an instrumental track which I believe I wrote when I was, I'm gonna say, I started writing it when I was 10 or 12, somewhere around then. It was the first song I ever wrote. But it's had a lot of changes. So it's like, it's weird to say like, oh, I started writing this when I was 12, or I wrote this when I was 12, because I didn't write it when I was 12. I started writing it when I was 12, and then when I was 14, I changed something of it, and then, it's basically been my, the one song from back then I remember. I remember a couple others. Actually, I've got the piano connected right now, so I could show it to you. Okay. So here we go. So that was a little riff that I made. I'm gonna say I was 14 or 15 at the time. I have lyrics for it, but they're not very good because they were one of the first lyrics I ever wrote. But yeah, the song that I wrote when I was, 12 probably, was like, so that's like the main part that I wrote, because I basically, that was when I stopped taking lessons because I was stubborn and wouldn't practice. But I was kind of a dick as a kid. But basically, that's what I discovered I could do, Oh, you go to C. So then, of course, since it's in C, then you can kind of improvise a little bit. So yeah, that whole song was written, and then of course, and when I was probably a couple years later, I wrote like the. So it's I've had that song for such a long time that it's hard to say like what was written when, but essentially that's the first song I ever wrote. I'm trying to think. There was some stuff before it. Back in the day, when I first started writing music, this would have been like when I was, I don't want to say 12 because I don't feel like it was 12, but I have a hard time keeping track of ages. I think I got into okay. So here's a fun story. Here's a fun story for all you kids who are raised religious. When I was 12, okay. I'm trying to think through this. Okay. So the way 10. I think I was 10. I went to a Christian summer camp. It was like for a week, I think. A week, maybe 2 weeks. I don't know. Time is an illusion. So I went there, and normally a Christian summer camp, they're gonna focus on, oh, you gotta be saved, you gotta be saved. But this summer camp, they were smart. They knew these kids are from a church. They know that if they're there, they'll probably have them saved by the first night. So they gotta do something more, So in order to inspire more salvation and inspire a deeper connection with the church, excuse me. Basically, they decided to be like, God has a plan for your life, and you guys just now getting to the point where you're gonna find out what it is, and it's gonna be great. And for me, it was just like, oh, I get a purpose. There's meaning to my life. That sounds awesome. So naturally, being a kid, you're like, well, I assume that it's gonna be one of my interests. So basically, I was just like, I was thinking about it at the time, and I was just like, what am I interested in? What could I do? What could God be wanting me to do? And so on the way home from church camp, I was still thinking about, like, what is it that God wants me to do with my life? It can only be one thing. There can't be more than one thing. And I was just staring at the sky. I was just like, then my 10-year-old brain, ADHD brain, was just like immediately just like thinking about, oh man, this moon's weird, isn't it? Because it was a day, the moon was out, because and it was just like thinking about that, and I think about the stars and everything, and thinking like, oh, that could be what I do, and that's how I got into astronomy. I don't do it much anymore, but I had a big run of it, probably about 4 or 5 years. I was studying astronomy, and I was like learning constellations and everything. Then I went through a phase where I was more interested in astrophysics, because really, if I had gone for anything, that would have been what I was for. And I still sometimes wish I had gone to study astrophysics, because physics is fascinating, especially like theoretical physics. Like, that's where the big stuff is happening nowadays. But yeah. But the point of that story was, a few years later, probably when I was 12 maybe, it might have been at the current time. It might have still been when I was 10 or 11. But basically, I was just like, I realized that, like, hey, sure, like, I could be an astronomer and bring glory to God, as the church said. But I had been, like, learning about, like, people who wrote hymns, and I was just like, could I write hymns? Could I write? Because, like, I think it was Fanny Crosby was, like, the poet. So many of her poems got turned into hymns. And I was just like, that sounds like something I could do, but which is it? I can only do one. I can't do both. Oh, no. So in order to decide which I was supposed to do, I decided, I'm going to study poetry for a while. So I got a book on poetry. And I'm going to be honest, guys. Now, at where I am now, I respect poets. Even modern poetry. It's an art form. People work really hard on it. Just because it doesn't rhyme doesn't make it not poetry. By the time I was like reading through this book, and it had all these rules of different poems, and I was like trying to follow them to write poems, I was just like, this isn't fun anymore. Because I've written poems before, but like it was just like, this isn't fun. There's too many rules. So I was like, well, that's it. I guess astronomy is the thing God wants me to do. So that was what I did for several years. It's not all bad though, Like, I don't regret studying astronomy. I don't regret learning about it. I'm going to be honest. It was very difficult learning about astronomy with being, in a young Earth creationist kind of mindset. Because as I said last episode, like, it's very difficult to study science and be like, well, actually, we can only interpret this. The Earth has to be young. So either God made it look old, he made, the whole universe look old, or we're mistaken about a whole bunch of stuff. And I don't just mean like, I don't just mean like carbon dating or whatever. I mean like the whole understanding of geology and biology and astronomy and physics, all of that. There's a bunch that has to go away. It's ridiculous. I mean, I'm not saying that like it's impossible. Because obviously, like I said, God could have just made everything look old. He could have, like, hey, let's have some stars in here. Oh, no, the light's not going to reach them for 1 billion years. Let's just stretch it out. Let's stretch it out. Let's stretch it out so it looks like this. Oh no, some of my stars blew up while I was stretching them out. That'll be cool for Earth in about a couple thousand years. They'll get a few supernova. Anyway, I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna try to be a little more positive on this podcast, despite my serious face in the thumbnail. Cause gosh dang it, this whole the whole point of this podcast was to be like, this is gonna be like a Friday afternoon podcast. People can listen to it and be like, yeah, I'm going home. I'm going home for the weekend. I get to do fun stuff or whatever. I don't know what normal people do during their weekends. Do people have fun during weekends, or do they just work? I don't know how to adult. Adulting is difficult. It's not even a word. You just made it up because it's so boring being an adult. But anyway, yeah, this weekend I'm gonna finish up a few tracks. I've got everything worked out between me and the album's audio engineer. His name is what's his name? Peter Greenidge. He's actually a great musician in and of himself. He's wrote some great tracks. You can find him on Spotify under Gift to Curse is his profile, and he's written 2 instrumental songs, and they are actually very good. I recommend you guys check him out because he deserves more attention. And he's been expanding his freelance portfolio. He's done a few theme songs. In fact, I'm thinking about having him do some of the theme songs for the segments on this show. You know, because gosh dang it, my boy needs work. He needs work outside. I'll let him finish the album first, though. You know, I don't want to make him do a whole bunch all at once. But anyway, yeah, he's great. But basically, yeah, I got everything worked out between him as far as agreements and everything. Got it all in writing so that it's all official. And yeah. I'm gonna start sending him tracks. We're gonna get a few singles out. I'm gonna buy some new gear so that I can do live performance again, and then I'm gonna get some live performances going. I'm gonna get a backing band together later on. We're gonna get to it, guys. We're gonna get to it finally. I hope it all works out, guys. I'm excited because here in the studio it's just like it's so much easier to get stuff done. In the old apartment, it was just like I was so crowded where I was working. It was not fun whatsoever. But anyway, yeah. Basically, I just got a few solos to do. I'm gonna record. Let me think here. Okay, so yeah, Joe's gonna come over at some point this weekend and do the guitar solo for one of the tracks. And then, because he's better at guitar than me. And then, yeah, I'm gonna record accordion solo. Actually, funny story about that. From last episode of the podcast, you guys will remember one of the Peaches during the segment Peaches and Lemons. I said that my accordion, I finally got it to where it was working, and like I was able to record a little bit of accordion. And one of the people that work with me, not work with me, she's basically the office lady, and then everyone else is working on the field doing electrical stuff. But yeah, she's the one that makes sure we all get paid and stuff. But she, I think she follows me on Instagram is where she saw it. But she was just like, I listen to your podcast. Do you wanna borrow our accordion? So yeah, now I have a extra accordion for recording, and it's about I think it's about half the size of the one that I got from my grandma. My grandmother on my mother's side, she is the one that actually, her accordion was the one I started playing on, and it's the one I still have. And I'm still planning on using it for the album because basically the smaller accordion that I got from the lady from work, it's smaller and it has the deeper tone. My grandma's accordion has like a little knobby thing. You can switch between like a deep tone and a high tone. So for one of the accordion solos, I wanted a deeper tone, so I'm probably going to use the smaller one because it'll be easier. It's got a really good tone to it. It sounds really nice. It's in good condition. It's shiny. It's shiny and red. It's really nice looking. I think I'll post a video of recording the accordion solo onto Instagram and some other stuff, maybe Twitter. I don't know. So yeah, if you guys want to check that out, you can see just how shiny this is. So shout out to her if she's listening. It was actually, I was just like, immediately, as soon as she told me that she was listening to the podcast, I was just like, oh no. Oh no. Did I say anything bad during that episode? I probably did. I don't know. So I ended up going back and listening through it and being like, ah, so much mouth breathing. So much mouth breathing. I don't know. It's so annoying. I think because this mic picks up so much of the detail, especially if you get close like this. Is that annoying? You guys enjoying that? You guys enjoying this? But yeah, I think like anytime I swallow or anytime like, probably because my mouth was dry. There goes again. Yeah, subconsciously I just do it. I gotta pay attention, I guess. I'm dying. But yeah, this week I had water with me, but it is all gone. So yeah, sorry about that. And also sorry to my coworker for this terrible podcast full of full of smacking lips, dry throats, all kinds of junk. But I don't know. The main reason actually I wanted to do this podcast was just to practice talking again, because I practice singing a lot, but talking is its own art form, and I got a lot better at talking back when I did podcasts all the time. And videos are fun, but they're just not the same because they're highly edited. I can cut parts out. I can repeat lines. Whereas a podcast, you could do that. Like I've known podcasters that did it like that, but it's not me. I prefer to just sit down and babble and hope that I don't say anything too dumb. And if it's too bad, I can just cut it out. But I don't want to go through the whole podcast and have to like clip stuff apart and have like a 20-minute episode, which is perfect. Because that's not why I listen to podcasts. I listen to podcasts because I enjoy the personal side of people I follow. I like it when like George Ezra's podcast that he does. He actually does 2 different podcasts. But like it feels so much more personable, his music now, because it's like I feel like I kind of know this guy because I've listened to hours of him talking on his podcasts. And like, he's very open about a lot of stuff, especially like, mental health stuff and the stories behind his songs. So, which obviously a lot of musicians are like that. But yeah, anyway, now I'm trying to be a real clean boy in this podcast because I'm afraid that Don might be listening. Hi, Don, if you're listening. Hopefully I don't say too many F words in this episode. I don't think I've said any so far. I'm trying to remember if I said any in the last episode. I think I said at least one. But anywho, hang on. Something's making static noise. I think it's in the headphones. I have this classic habit where I trip over my cords on my headphones, and then I break them because I'm always stepping on them. So I think this one's starting to get a little bit boogered up. But anyway, the important thing is I can still hear myself talking, and I'll know if I make too many smacking lips. All right. Let's move on to news, everybody. What's in the news? Hang on. Okay. Local news. Cave Collective is starting to open back up. These are great people. If you live in Rapid City, they're doing a if you live in Rapid City and you're listening to this podcast on the day it's released, I guess I should say, freaking tomorrow, Saturday, April 17th, they are doing a rummage sale. So if y'all want to go to that, support our boys, and girls over at the Cave Collective. They're doing a lot of great stuff. Yeah. Moving on. Here's what I found interesting this week. I just listen to news podcasts. Is the way I'm gonna do this news segment. I'm just gonna listen to news podcasts through the week, and then I'm gonna look up stories that I find interesting. And you guys are gonna think that's what's in the news, but it's really not. I just find very specific things interesting. Let's see here. So the COVID-19 vaccine is now opened up to anyone above 16 here in Rapid City. I don't know if it's just Rapid City or all South Dakota, but yeah, they decided they're getting rid of that wait list because gosh dang it, the old people aren't gonna get the vaccine anyway. It's all the young people that are getting it. I kind of want to get it, to be honest, not to protect me, and only slightly to protect other people because I know like you can still technically kind of spread it. It's hard to say, right? Because like it lowers the how much you spread it. It lowers the likelihood of spreading it and catching it by a lot. But like, I mean, that's how a vaccine works. It helps your immune system. But if your immune system fights it off, you're also not going to spread it because it fights it off and gets rid of it, right? I don't know. I always hate being like, because I do trust science. I do believe in science. I'm a big science boy. And like, I spend a lot of time listening to science podcasts. But then when it comes time for me to be like, well, this is why I trust science, I'm just like, well, I don't want to remove people's the validity behind what people think, but also I want to be able to explain like, why I think certain ways. I don't want to just be like, get the vaccine, you'll be safer. I want to explain why. But I don't know that much about it, and I don't want to present myself as like a authority figure on the matter. If you're worried about it, I don't know what to tell you because I'm not an expert, but I don't think you should be worried. I think it's fine. I think it's okay. They did so much testing on it. If you're a big Trump boy, Trump thinks this vaccine's the greatest thing ever. He thinks he gets full credit because he funded it or something. I don't know. He really rushed it. But like I just don't think it really was rushed, even though he was really pushing to get it through. I think that they did a lot of really good testing on this. When you look at like how much they worry about like vaccines, how good they do testing it, just like Johnson & Johnson was taken off the market just in the past couple of days because I think 6 women out of the 7 million people that have gotten it got blood clots from it. And like, yeah, that's a big deal. Yeah, it's a problem. But like that percentage, if you're going to not worry about COVID because it's only, a 1-2% chance of you dying from it, then don't worry about the vaccine because that's way less than 1%. Yeah, people are weird. I guess it's a thing, right? It's like passive risk versus active risk. If you get the vaccine, that's an active risk. If you don't worry about COVID and don't wear a mask, that's a passive risk, because you're just doing what you always do. There's just this risk out there of you catching and spreading something. Anyway, that's that. In other news, Snoop Dogg and Charles Koch, chief executive of Koch. I don't know who Koch is, but I know who Snoop Dogg is. They're banding together to legalize marijuana, which honestly, good for them. There's who was it that said this? I'm gonna check it real quick. It was the I believe this was who was this? Who is Angelos? But who is he? Like, what is he? Not who. What? I know it's in this article because I read it earlier. It's some person that does legal stuff. Basically says, yeah, this is gonna go through. So basically, Snoop Dogg and Koch are basically just saying, hey, we need to decriminalize marijuana. We need to do it federally. We need to stop. We already tested a few states. New York is legalizing it. Colorado's had it legal for several years, and we've seen it benefit, that economy there. We've seen taxes coming in from there. We've seen crime rates going down, and we haven't seen that much of a spike in like intoxicated, or it's not even intoxicated. This is just high driving. If you're gonna worry about it, then you also got to worry about drunk driving, right? And of course we got to worry about that. Of course it's not good to drink and drive. Of course it's not good to smoke weed and then drive. But at the same time, it's just like marijuana is like it's not that addictive. It's not that, bad of a drug. And if we have, and I think, yeah, of course I enjoy drinking. I enjoy alcohol, and I know people who enjoy smoking nicotine. So, let them get a little bit of weed. Get a little bit of that THC. It's not going to destroy society. It's not going to be that bad on your kids. Your kids already fake their IDs and go and get their freaking alcohol at 17. So, if you're worried about it, maybe you should just be a better parent. I don't know. But anyway, essentially this lawmaker person that they're kind of working with has said it's kind of inevitable, right? Which I'm glad, because here recently we had here in South Dakota, we had a law going through where we were like, it wasn't even law. It was just like a voter approved amendment to the state constitution, not the federal constitution. This was the state constitution. Basically, state constitutions are such bullshit. Like freaking, what was it? Tennessee, I think it was. I want to say Tennessee or Arkansas. I'm not sure which it was. Essentially, there's this thing going on right now where they're trying to amend their constitution. It has like 3 different sections to it. One says, hey, no non-believers can run for office, which is absolutely goes against the American Constitution. But then no priests, which also goes against the separation of church and state. And then there's like, what was it? There was a third one, which is like, I don't know, no Jews or something. I forget what it was. But essentially, this is like an old thing which has existed for, a couple hundred years. The priest thing was basically they say, hey, these priests, they're supposed to be the shepherds of God's church, so they can't run for office. That's bad. But obviously, that is a violation of the United States Constitution. It's, I strongly believe both of those things should be taken away. But of course, good old lawmakers are just like, let's just get rid of the priest thing. Let's not get rid of the one that says anything about the non-believers, which is, typical. It's not that they could. This law isn't even enforceable. If an atheist tried to run for office, and they were told they couldn't because this law exists in a state constitution, this would be laughed out of court, because that's such an obvious not enforceable law, but it still exists, and it sucks because it sets a precedent, right? But essentially, they're just wanting to get rid of the priest one and not the non-believer one, which, of course, I want to know, has there ever been an atheist in office? I got to look this up. Has there ever been an open atheist in public office? U.S. I got to say U.S. List of atheists in politics and law. America. I need America. Where's America? Okay, North America, not Canada. United States. Here we go. There was one in 1951. Oh no, this was in 2012. He was born in 1951. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 20. 20. Wow. So yeah, and of course, none of these are ever before. Okay, this one's in 2012. One 2002 and 2006. Looks like the oldest one I can see. There was Thomas Gore. Thomas Gore from 1907 till 1921, and then again in 1931 and 1937. That looks like it's really the only one before like the 1990s, 1970s. There's one in 1970s. Okay, there's a couple. There's a couple from before then. But yeah, obviously nothing before the 1800s. Wow. So yeah, there aren't very many, because basically being an open atheist is suicide in politics. I know you guys think, no, but they love their... No, you look at Biden. He's super religious. You look at like his inauguration. That is as Catholic as you get. You might think that his politics don't align with what you think the belief should be, but maybe he just has a different interpretation of how he should carry out that faith. I don't care. Because in my opinion, faith should have nothing to do with politics. It's frustrating that it does. It's frustrating that people use their faith to decide who they're going to vote for, but I get it. Anyway, the point I was making with that was that state constitutions are dumb, and then our governor freaks out because there's this amendment going through to legalize marijuana. So she says, well, no, actually we can't because blah, blah, blah. We can only amend one thing at a time. So it's just like, okay, yeah. Which I suppose, this federal thing is going to go through eventually, right? Like, it's inevitable. It's eventually going to go through. Good old Kristi Noem, or as I like to call her, that bitch. She's inevitably going to have to suck it up and maybe listen to her own voters eventually. It's so weird seeing like a red state that then approves kind of a left-wing idea. I don't know. I guess like legalizing marijuana was originally a libertarian thing. Essentially, the idea is like, hey, we don't want the government telling us what to do, So it's like this weird. It's modern like American nationalists, religious conservatives live in this weird bubble where they're just kind of like, well, we don't want the government doing anything with our guns. We don't want them controlling us. Oh, but don't legalize weed. That's bad. Marijuana's bad. So yeah, cause gay marriage was when was gay marriage legal in South Dakota? That would have been June 26, 2015. Wow. That is not very long ago. I know that it only became like popular, around the Obama era. Legal in U.S. federally, legalized in U.S. federally. June 26th. So yeah, they did not legalize it until. So basically, they did it state by state, right? Because the federal law happened. Okay. Prior to 2004, it's not performed or recognized in any U.S. jurisdiction. So basically, 2004 was the first one, right? Was that right or no? Okay. Blah, 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 blah. I want to know. Who was first? It was New York, right? I think it was, yeah. Okay, officials in Texas, one of Texas counties. Okay, let's look this up. Let's use Google. Which state legalized gay marriage first? Okay, which states? That'll help me. Massachusetts was the first. Yay, Massachusetts! Here's a timeline. That'll help me out. 1970 in Minnesota, they were denied. Maryland, first state to ban it. Okay, let's go here. Wow, 2002, Nevada voted to approve a state constitutional ban on same-sex marriage. Wow. In 2002. There's been so much change recently. Legalizing same-sex unions, but it's vetoed by the governor. These governors are such cunts. They're just like, yeah, let's not do that. And that was in New York. Gosh, New York was kind of mixed recently, right? Like, it's kind of been a bit of a purple state, and it's technically blue, but like a lot of what they do is red. So yeah, New York legalized it in 2011. Oh, I was wrong. They were about, that was like 3 years, right? Yeah. Of course, California had their ban when they went through their red phase. What's up with that? What's up with that? Tell me what's up with that, okay? Conservatives, you always say like, oh, we want our freedoms. That's important. But then like weed and gay marriage, you guys didn't want to legalize that for so long, and now you still fight like trans rights and LGBT rights. I don't get it. I just don't get it. What's your where does where does government intervention begin and end for you guys? What can't you make up your minds? So anyway, good for Snoop Dogg. That's the bottom line here. Good for Snoop Dogg. In other news, this is just fun for me, okay? John Merrill, he's getting out of the Senate. Or I guess he didn't end up in Senate, right? Yeah, he's just a Secretary of State. But yeah, he's a bit of an a-hole. He was gonna run for Senate in 2022, and I think he ran before. Let's see here. Yeah, this is from 2019, and basically what he said was let's see here. When asked about why he basically was running for Senate back in 2019, I assume he was going to be running for the 2020 election, or he did run, but he didn't get in. Let's see here. I want the full quote. Essentially what he said was, okay, Merrill said the U.S. is losing its moral core because Americans are preoccupied with homosexual activities and the wife swap shows that are on television. He said there aren't any shows like Gunsmoke or The Virginian. He declined to provide examples of the country's obsession with homosexual activities. This is in 2019. Oh my gosh. Progress is slow, boys. Progress is very slow. But yeah, he basically had a scandal recently here in the last week or so. Essentially, he said, well, I'm not going to be running for Senate because basically a woman came out and was like, yeah, we were having an affair. Yeah. So, and he's married or whatever. And so now he's, let's see what he says. What does he say? Why is he not running? Let's see here. The scandal exploded. Merrill declined to go into all detail, but told media outlet Wednesday that he had an inappropriate relationship with a woman outside his marriage. The outlet reported that he had initially denied the affair before being confronted with a recording of a phone conversation. I love the phone conversation. If you want to look this up, it's great. But he told them, because of the choices I've made and decisions I've made that were not in the best interest of me or my family, yeah, he's basically not going to be running. Yeah, what did he say? Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Didn't he had some quote, he had some quote about like, oh, I'm going to be taking a few years to, become the man that I need to be, and the Christian I need to be, and it's just like, whatever. Here's the thing, right? He's like, I'm not gonna like be like, oh, you had an affair, you're so bad. I don't think it's good by any means. But like, it's not my place, right? It's none of my business. As Salt and Pepper say, it's none of your business. But also like, freaking don't like criticize like the people like, oh, you're all obsessed with homosexual media, oh, no family values, and then proceed to cheat on your wife. You know what I mean? If you're gonna be a prude, you gotta go all the way. Maybe that's the problem, right? All these prudes are just like, they put themselves under so much pressure to be perfect because they constantly are criticizing. Maybe that's what Jesus meant when he said, "Judge not, lest you be judged." Maybe he was like, hey, if you hold people up to an insanely high standard, you're gonna get boned. You're gonna get boned in the asshole. And then people are gonna criticize you for criticizing people that do the same thing that you did. So sorry, liberals. Sorry. Anyway, bottom line is, I don't care. Do whatever you want, but just don't don't be a hypocrite, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, what else? What else is going down? That's it, actually. That's it for the news. Let's move on to segments. So first off, recommendations. Let's go through recommendations for this week. What did I do? What order did I do in? Whatever. Who cares? Movie. What do I do for movie? I haven't watched a movie recently. Let me think. What did I watch? When I watched Roger Rabbit the most recently. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? That's a good movie, right? I don't know. It wasn't like great, but I was like, this is a fun romp. You know what I mean? It was fun. It's fun to see like a unique movie that uses that cartoon and human, it's like one of the first cartoon and human combined films that, and it feels unique. It feels unique, unlike all these new films which are coming out, like the Tom and Jerry movie where it's just like, yeah, you guys are just trying to make money. TV show. Go watch DuckTales on Disney Plus. The new one. It's great. It's a great show. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's a shame that it's over, but all good things must pass. All things must pass. That's the actual title of the song. Music recommendation. So Greta Van Fleet is a fantastic band, and today actually they released their brand new album. It is called The Battle at Garden's Gate. It has some great songs on there, especially like Heat Above and Broken Bells. Those are fantastic songs. Check it out. Go get that album, or go stream it. Just do something with it. I don't care. I'm gonna take a quick break before we finish segments, guys, because I gotta pee. So yeah, hold please. And we're back. Okay. Was that all the recommendations? We did a film. We did a TV show. We did a music. We need to do book. What is it gonna be this week? Okay, I'm gonna recommend something intellectual for you boys. All right. So I'm reading through this one recent. Well, I should do ones I finished, right? Shucks. And I don't want to recommend anything political I've done. Not especially anyway. Okay, here's something intellectual and not too awful, polarizing. This book is by Mick West. He is the guy who was one of the guys behind the company that did the Tony Hawk video games back in the days. He wrote this book. It's called Escaping the Rabbit Hole. It's basically about conspiracy theories, and I think that it's a great read, especially if you're stuck down the rabbit hole, or if you know somebody who is, or if you're about to get sucked down the rabbit hole. It's basically, this guy's been spending over a decade, I believe, debunking conspiracy theories, everything from contrails to 9/11. And I think this is just a great read because, gosh dang it, a lot of this stuff is really interesting. He gets into a lot of science behind everything, explains a lot of stuff, and goes into a lot of details. And that's the thing. Everybody knows somebody who's into conspiracy theories. Everybody knows about conspiracy theories that they think are plausible. This book is just a great read for those who are maybe wanting a little bit more clarification on reality. We'll go with that. So yeah, Escaping the Rabbit Hole by Mick West. That is this week's recommendation. And if you get it on Audible, the guy who voiced it has a great British accent, which I thought was a lot of fun to listen through. It's really soothing hearing a British person talk to your ears. Let's see here. All right, so that's all the recommendations. Let's move on to the next segment, which was Peaches and Lemons. But unfortunately, the podcast I mentioned previously. Oh, I should recommend a podcast. I'm sorry. Back to recommendations. The podcast I'm going to recommend this week is one that's taking a break. It is Phone a Friend with George Ezra and Ollie. I don't know his last name. I don't remember. But I mentioned George Ezra before. But he's a wholesome boy. And him and Ollie basically call each other for an hour every episode and just ask how they're doing, talk about what's been going on, talk about mental health. They read emails from people, George talks about what he's making himself for dinner. It's just a great time. And yeah, it's a fun podcast. And they're taking a hiatus because George is working on something, which I'm excited because anytime George Ezra gets busy, it means that he's getting stuff done. And that means I get to enjoy more of his music or more projects from him. And that makes me excited. But it's also a great time to catch up on all the episodes if you guys want to do that. So if you're looking for a great podcast, a good wholesome podcast, Phone a Friend with George Ezra and Ollie is a great show. Let's see here. Yeah, okay. So yeah, Peaches and Lemons. As I was saying, that podcast I mentioned last week has been in touch. Their lawyers have been in touch, and they have told me. I mean, they came over. They were nice. They did kill my cat, and they did shoot me in the kneecaps, unfortunately. But so those are healing currently, and my cat is down to 7 lives. But basically, essentially, they very nicely told me that I could not use the name of their segment, Peaches and Lemons, because it was copyrighted and trademark of Late Night with Brian Wecht. So essentially, we had to change the name of the segment, but that's okay because we are going to be calling it Highs and Lows. Basically, we're going to go through 1 low and 3 highs, same as last time. We're just calling them different things. So the low for this week, guys, is that the weather has gotten crappy again. Yeah, it just... Not only has it been cold and windy this week, yesterday it started really snowing, but the ground wasn't frozen. So it just got muddy. So now everything's muddy. Every time I take the dog out, she gets mud on her paws, gets it in the house. Then my wife gets mad because there's mud in the house, and I gotta live with that. So that's my low for this week, guys. There's mud. So highs, I mean, obviously, I think one high would definitely be Dawn lending me her accordion, because it's been fun having a smaller accordion to play. I wish I'd had it when I was younger, because gosh dang it, on a little 10-year-old boy, that big accordion, that's a lot of weight. But yeah, it's a lot easier on my arms playing that smaller one, so that'll be handy. Thanks, Dawn. Shout out to Dawn. I hope it's okay I said your first name. I'm not going to say last name, don't worry. Also, I think... Anyway. Let's see. Second high. Second high is weed. No. Second high. What is that going to be? I've been taking a week off drinking. Yay. Good for me. It's basically just I decided Sunday night, hey, I'm going to take this next week off. I'm just going to do a dry week. So yeah, I'm feeling a bit of anxiety from it, cause like I don't rely on alcohol, but I do find like 1 or 2 drinks, on like a Saturday afternoon or like in the evenings. I find it helps me calm down. It helps me stop thinking about everything I have to do, and instead just be like, okay, let's just calm down. Let's just calm down, Vinnie. Let's just have an evening at home. Let's just work on what we're working on right now, or let's just clean the garage, instead of me being my current brain, which is like constantly caffeinated and like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta get the music. Oh no, the album's still not done. What am I gonna do? So yeah, but it's healthy. It's healthy to take some time off from drinking alcohol. I personally don't think alcohol is a problem if you are responsible about it. I think the reason people have trouble with it is because they need it a lot more than you realize. That's the thing, right? Is like, it's an escape, and people don't escape if they don't have problems. So if they have problems, they need an escape. But at the same time, I think it can also be a tool that can be used to help your mental health. That's just my opinion, though. I've found it to be helpful for me, and I haven't found it to be that big of a vice. But maybe I'm just a commie libtard. All right, third high for this week. I had one. I know I had one, but I can't remember it for the life of me. Okay, here's one. Essentially, a song that I wrote more recently. It's like the most recent song I've written. I got the bass recording done, and I was able to use a drum machine. And it sounds really good. I really like how the track sounds. I got some stuff to fix on it. I got to record the bass and stuff on it. But essentially, the song sounded really good, and I'm excited about that. I'm excited to be getting these tracks over to my audio engineer for mixing and mastering. I'm excited to get these singles ready for release. I'm excited to start working on music videos. I'm just stoked, guys. So yeah, that's what's been up with me. I think that's pretty much it for this podcast, guys. We've been recording for almost an hour now, so that's fun. Yeah, thank you guys for joining me again. Thank you for listening to this episode. I will get it on Spotify and iTunes eventually, as well as wherever else you get podcasts. I think I'm going to do it once I finish this next episode. I'm going to use it and be like, okay, here's the podcast episode. Let's get them over, on a host. And I have 3 episodes, so I know I'm at least somewhat committed. So yeah, I'll get it on the host. And yeah, eventually I'll have to start paying for that. But at least I'll have an easy way to get it into iTunes and whatnot. Anyway, guys, thanks again for joining me for Fridays with Vinnie. And yeah, I will be back next Friday afternoon with another update on my life and the news. And hope you guys are doing well. Hope you have a great weekend. Bye-bye.